Kev G Weather Overview. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. So we had a storm last March where, less than 24 hours before the storm hit, there were big changes to the forecast, and I feel like I'm living through that same sort of scenario all over again, especially for the folks along the south shore of Long Island and along the New Jersey coast, where there's going to be a lot more mixing than what was advertised yesterday, especially by my graphics. So I did do some updates, and I'm going to share it with you. But this is one of these classic storms where, 10 or 15 miles is going to make all the difference. I think if you're on I-95 and north and west, this is a major snowstorm. This is a disruptive event. And let's not forget, the nor'easter of last week is still being felt not only along the nearshore communities that are vulnerable, but there are hundreds of thousands of people right now that are without power. And this is a real shot between the eyes for some of those locations, because it's just going to exacerbate the recovery effort from last week's storm. So this is going to create some real hardship in certain communities, especially away from the coast, that haven't had a chance to put the lights back on. So just hang tight. We'll get through the storm tomorrow, and then I think fair weather for the weekend for the most part. And I'll have to cover a separate video to go over the rest of the week's weather. So look for that to happen on Thursday. But for right now, the focus is on the major winter storm for March 7th. And we'll take a look. We'll try to detail everything. This is where the warnings and advisories are. You can see that northern parts of Nassau are in a winter storm warning, while southern parts of Nassau are in an advisory from the National Weather Service. And that's because of the mixing that's going to go on along the coast. We're going to have this battle between rain and snow all day long on the island. I think the city, though, most of the five boroughs are going to see warning level snow of 6 inches or more, except for maybe southern Brooklyn and southern Queens. But, everything is just going to have to be a situation where it's just going to be hour by hour with the storm, especially the further east you go. The further west you go, the areas that are firmly entrenched in the winter storm warning, you're not going to really deal with any mixing issues. You're just going to deal with heavy snow and winds of up to 40 to 50 miles an hour. So this is NOAA. Keep tabs on them tomorrow. They're going to be busy. I will be busy. And if you don't have to go into work tomorrow, just stay home. And I think that what I said yesterday is that the morning commute isn't going to really be a problem. We will deal with some snow overnight and a rain-snow mix, but not enough to really disrupt things. I think tomorrow the brunt of the storm is really from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So in telecast.com radar right now, yeah, that's snow. It's right on our doorstep. It's making its way into Philly and eastern PA, and there are several pieces of these of this coming together, and we'll look at it in just a second. But I would expect a snow or a rain-snow mix to develop very soon. I'm recording this video around 7:30, so I think over the next 3 to 5 hours, snow or a rain-snow mix will develop area-wide and continue off and on overnight with light accumulations, maybe a slushy inch or two. Now, if we take a look at the Penn State EWAL site, a lot of interesting things happening on this site right now. This is a satellite picture. All the way to the far right, you can see the nor'easter that impacted us last Friday. It's still out there, and it's a big circulation. And then the other part, if you look over the Carolinas, that's one part of our storm, and then the other part of our storm is over the upper Midwest, and those two are going to merge together and create our nor'easter for Wednesday. So very interesting satellite picture off the Penn State EWAL site. We take a look at the latest model off of Tropical Tidbits, and here's how I think it's all going to play out once and for all. I think that we will see snow or a rain-snow mix develop overnight for most locations around 10, 11 o'clock. I wouldn't be surprised if areas in and around New York City are picking up snow or a rain-snow mix. And we might get some steadier snow to develop overnight, and that might give us a slushy inch or two. But that's really just a harbinger of things to come, because we'll have a lull tomorrow during, I think the heart of the morning rush is really not that bad. I don't think that there's really anything going on. We just have developing precipitation off to our south, and then the snow gets going between 8 and 10 a.m. tomorrow, and it goes heavy at times, especially for the city, north and west. And along the coast, it's going to be a rain-snow mix. And I think that what's going to happen is this rain-snow line is going to set up very near New York City and into Nassau County, western parts of Nassau County, and up into Connecticut. And everybody east of that is going to be mixing at times and just going back and forth from rain to snow. So it'll have a hard time accumulating out on the island. But for the city, they're going to be right on the edge. and that includes all 5 boroughs. So that is where the rain snow line is going to do battle, and it's going to be very, very tricky. But west of there, heavy snow and very poor travel conditions. I think a foot or more is going to fall north and west of the city for the most part. So as we go through the day, this low pressure system, which is very tucked into the coast, and that's the reason for a lot of the mixing out on Long Island. It's not further east. That low pressure begins to pull away, and then all areas change over to snow. So it's a big battle all day long, especially east of the city. But for the city north and west, this is a major snowstorm. So if we take a look at what I did on the graphic, I updated it so that the south shore of Long Island is in the 1 to 3 inch area, and I think that it's going to be very tricky for the Long Island forecast. And then on the North Shore, I have it 4 to 8 inches, and that covers all of New York City. And then just outside the city, that's where we have very significant accumulations, very disruptive travel in the form of poor driving conditions and even poor rail conditions and everything like that. The whole mess. And then along the Jersey Shore, it's rain. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you kind of a snapshot of what to look forward to. It's going to be fun watching this one tomorrow with the presence of that rain and snow line oscillating back and forth. And I think it'll be an interesting storm for weather lovers. Whether you get snow all the time or whether you get a mixed bag, I think it'll still be a very interesting storm. And I would just stay tuned. Stay tuned to your local media, whatever your favorite local media is. And if you don't have to travel tomorrow, please think about maybe, just hunkering down wherever you are and just waiting until the storm pulls away.